1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. D, the sun is in our faces. It's blue sky. And you've been reading a book. What kind of day have you had? What's been in your thoughts today?
It's been, I'd say, a slow day. Yeah, a slow day. Thoughts, just thinking about life, how to improve my current situation. That's basically it, to be honest. Looking at projects, because I am a creative as well, to just figuring out my timing, plotting out my time with how I'm going to execute the work I got to do within the next couple of days. That kind of stuff, really.
It sounds like quite a nice kind of neutral, not a worried neutral, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So today you haven't had kind of like, those confidence dips when you're like, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing or if I should be doing more, or you're in quite a good kind of, I'm just giving myself this day.
I did have that question in my mind earlier on today. What else should I be doing? What can I be doing? And then you start thinking, do I have any regrets? Maybe I should have done this before. Maybe I should have done that about timing. I'm like, actually, let me let myself go with that and just give myself grace, because, everyone's just figuring out life, innit? And I should just give myself that chance to do that myself.
That's good. I like that. Give yourself grace. We can be so hard on ourselves. And that thing of shoulda, coulda, woulda, it's always there if we let it go.
Yeah.
It's like, those little thoughts that sort of worry away at you. The book that you've chosen to read this evening, with the sun in your face, so you've got a warm place. What are you finding out from this book?
So it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, is that a famous book?
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
You've heard of it before?
I've heard of it before.
You haven't read it?
No, I haven't read it.
So this is my second, I don't know how many times. I think I've read it before.
Okay.
But it's been on my bookshelf for a while. So I picked it up today actually, and I thought, let me read that, because I was reflecting on my life and just my social situations and how to get along better with people, with whether it's family members, whether it's work, or just when you reflect on your life and you think, maybe if I'd handled that situation a bit better, maybe if I'd listened, maybe if I didn't listen there, maybe So I just picked up this book that was on my bookshelf and thought, let me just open it. So I've literally just opened up it again, just started to read it and thought, let me come outside. And
it's interesting you've gone to it a second time. That's a good book, because I've got, I could probably count on one hand the number of books I'd go to again. But this is one you've kept.
Yeah.
Is it like a serious book, or is it dark humour? I don't know. Is it factual? Is it fiction?
They say it's a self-help book.
Right.
Yeah, it's about basically how to win friends and influence people. From what I've gathered, is just teaching you how to get along with people better, how to deal with people, whether it's in work or with friendships, family members, how to understand people from their perspective as well, and not just from your own.
That's really difficult. I'm interested in the advice it gives, because I sometimes think we only know our own thoughts and our own way of thinking about things.
Yeah.
It's very hard to be truly empathetic.
Yes, especially when you've got your own load of problems and issues and stresses. It's so easy to kind of think, actually, my way of doing things is the right way to do things. And you hear that from people who are from the older generation, the elderly, you have parents and grandparents. No, I'm right. And so actually, are you really right?
Or I'm right because I've got tired of trying to adapt to other people.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, this is what makes me happy.
Yeah, and they're just accepting it. It's like, I'm just going to do whatever I'm going to do. and I'm just going to, and if anyone disagrees with it, they're okay with disagreeing with it, and I'm fine to be misunderstood.
It's almost like when we're kids, we have that point of view because we're very selfish as kids, and we we're forging forwards, and then we have the middle bit of our life when we question things, and we have the older bit of our life when we're like, I am who I am, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting you pick up on the old. So are the older people quite forthright and quite like kind of like you know where you're at with them. They're not questioning themselves, and maybe that's a positive. Maybe they've reached a level of confidence that we would all love. Confidence in themselves.
I think everyone has a little bit in themselves that they question things. I don't think anyone is sitting around saying, "Oh, actually, I've got everything together." I don't think anyone does that. If you think like that, then you're very, very wrong. Very, very wrong.
Or you're kidding yourself.
Yeah, you're kidding yourself. Yeah, exactly. You're kidding yourself to think if, you know. But yeah, I think. What was your question again? My mind just trailed off.
It's kind of like how older people, whether it's a sign of their confidence,
yeah,
or just an ossification of their views, as in they're not really as flexible as a younger person would be. I don't know. I mean, the older people in my family, who I knew when I was younger, they're gone now. That generation who are gone, they had a kind of what I took from them was the simplicity of their wisdom. They could say things in a small number of words that younger people take a long time to try and get across. Like, as an example, like, I believe in God because it's harder not to. You know, just some simple things like that. Whereas a young person will tell you for a long time why they believe in God, quite often. Yeah, but an older person will just go, it just is what it is.
Yeah, but the older person has had many, many years to go through the stages of the younger person to get to that space.
Yeah.
That space to say, actually, it's easier to believe in God because it's harder not to believe to.
Yeah.
Whereas a younger person is still figuring it out. They still have multiples of questions.
Yeah.
You know, trying to figure it out on their own as opposed to because their parents told them. You know, because it's so easy to force people. Not force people, to try and force people and control, but this is what you should do. Or get people, you know, to believe in one thing as opposed to another thing without letting them to figure it out themselves. So that's why the younger people have more questions and they take a longer time to answer that question. So the older person is like,
In terms of age, are you sitting comfortably in the age you're at? Do you think about age a lot? Is age not important to your way of thinking in your daily life? Like, for instance, like I'm in my early 50s and I think age is quite at the forefront of my mind. Maybe because I've got aches and pains and I feel age in this particular decade. But maybe in an earlier decade, in my 30s, maybe I wasn't that bothered what age I was. How are you feeling about age at the moment?
I don't really think about it too much.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
You're lucky.
I don't think about it too much. I would only be prompted to think about it if somebody brings it up, or if I'm tempted to compare myself with other people and, you know, with their stages in life and everything. But I've gotten to the place where I'm like, I cannot be in the place where I'm comparing myself with other people, comparing myself with time, with how the society says, oh, actually, this is where you should be at this point, because actually, who knows? Nobody knows, you know. Everyone's journey is very, very different. Especially being a lady as well. Everyone has their own, society and in family and, you know, culture and everything has their timeline for things. Whereas actually, that person's timeline is individual to themselves. They decide when they do things at their own time because they're on their own specific journey. So, yeah. I'm at that place where I'm like, actually, let me just take each day as it comes, because actually that's the easiest way to do it. You know, not to worry.
Do you think that this is always how you've been? Have you been through different phases in your life where you've had a different mindset? Or is this a constant for you? This whole kind of like, stay in the present, keep it cool, don't get worried about too much society pressure?
Definitely not a constant.
Yeah.
I think it's something it's definitely something that has got into this place. You know, you go through life, you experience hardships, you go through either traumas and whatever it is, you know, life has thrown at me. It's just easiest to have that mindset that I have now. It's just easiest and much more straightforward to just, you know, do what works best for me and do whatever is suitable for me at that time and at that day, because I cannot go on and live life comparing myself to other people, basing myself on other people's timelines, trying to please people, or, you know, because you're just not being true to yourself and not being authentic to yourself, and you're just walking around shrinking, you know, to please other people. Oh, you know, and you hear those stories about people who've been pressured because of either family members or situations and social society, and they're comparing themselves to people, and they get into relationships or situations that they should not have, and now they're having to, you know, deal with the consequences of what they've chosen, and now they have a life that they didn't want to have because they've tried to please someone else. You know.
And yet, when we walk around in a public place, let's say this park, this is the Olympic Park, we've got the stadium, the West Ham Stadium near us, behind us we've got the new V&A Museum and the new College of Fashion. If you walk around these kind of areas, quite often if there's a couple or 3 people or 4 people chatting, it'll be about other people. We talk about other people all the time. We talk about their lives, their loves, their breakups, how they are, how their work is. Kind of we're always fascinated by other people, and we love talking about other people with our friends. So we're kind of always curious, and I think that curiosity, do you feel that it's part of how we are always a bit comparing ourselves in some ways?
Yeah, people are comparing themselves. Some people are just doing it because it makes them feel better about themselves. Some people are not happy and content with their own situations, and they see other people and they go, actually, let me talk about that person, and they hear either they're not doing as well, and they may not try and show it outwardly that they're feeling some sense of glee inside themselves, but they do it and then they seek it out. Some people actually subconsciously, they're maybe not doing it, you know, intently, maliciously or anything like that, but they're doing it subconsciously to try and figure out, what is this person doing, how is this person getting along. I'm going to talk about their failures, I'm going to talk about their insecurities, talking about all the little dramas, bring other people into the situation, and all of us are going to agree on whatever problem it is and have a little chin wag about it, and then feeling, you know, oh, ha, 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 oh, happy about the situation. But little do they know, you're the ones going home thinking, oh, no, let me go and work a bit harder. Let me go to that because I don't want to be like that person.
So you're saying it's not for the entertainment. It's not because humans are inherently fascinating. You're saying there's also a kind of like there's a bounce back, there's a mirror when you have those kind of conversations, and it makes you reflect on yourself.
Oh, for sure. I mean, why else are you going? Why else will someone willfully gossip about somebody else consistently? Isn't it draining? Do you have anything else to do?
Yeah.
You know, think about how you're going to get on with your plans, achieve your goals. Think about something positive. Why else are you so concerned, like, consistently? And why do you need to bring other people into the situation and talk about somebody else's downfalls if it's not serving you internally in that moment? Why else? Because people do things, whether it's having a conversation with other people, because it benefits them in the moment. Like, you're going to serve someone, you're going to do something good for somebody else, and you see their smile on their face after you've succeedingly served them, made them happy, but it does something for you as well, because now you feel happy and satisfied because you've made them happy. You're serving yourself as you are serving the other person. So what you get out of the gossip and out of the chatter and the laughter, you're serving yourself in that moment to give yourself a false sense of positive feeling. Because why else would you do it if it doesn't feel good?
There's also the positive big me up kind of chat about people. When you praise people and you
Yes.
go, this person is looking fabulous, that they're glowing with love, that that kind of like positive boosting of
Yeah.
people. That can have that's also the flip side of it, isn't it? When it's not gossip, it's kind of like genuinely praising,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you get a nice feeling from doing that too.
Exactly. You feel good on both sides. You're doing it subconsciously because it feels good to talk about somebody else's accomplishments, because it inspires you as well. And you're talking. If you get other people around you, you sit around, you go, "Oh, this person did something really, really great. I really love their work. I really love their performance, and it was so like spectacular. And it made me feel so good in the moment. And because I'm bringing it to memory, and now other people agree it makes me feel good, because I want to continue talking about it, because it now inspires me to continue to do whatever I want to do next. It's serving you in a moment.
Now, you mentioned performance. You also mentioned earlier on about being in a creative world.
Yes.
What's the what is the creation that you do?
Performing arts.
Performing arts.
Yeah.
What part of performing arts? Are you an actor? Are you someone who writes plays? Are you a dancer? It's a broad church that I'm a bit unfamiliar with.
I don't generally want to be specific with what it is.
Okay, that's fine. We can talk around it. We can talk around it in general terms.
But general performing arts, you're standing in front of an audience and you are entertaining them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in doing that, given what we've just talked about, and in doing that, you're putting on a front. You're not being yourself, or you are being yourself?
It depends on which type of performing arts you're doing. Now, say for instance, if someone's doing acting, you are being yourself through another character. If you're a singer, then you're essentially yourself. If you're a musician in that way. But if you're singing through like singing through theatre, you're being somebody else. In a moment, but you are yourself. But there is that kind of shield, that kind of faux protection. If you're a comedian or a poet, you're being yourself. So, yeah.
And for all of these things, there's a drive to have the audience. I mean, you're comfortable. I mean, for many of us, it's not something that attracts us. We don't want to perform. We don't want an audience that fills us with fear and dread. But you are moving in a world where people want to be out there, to perform, to entertain. How naturally does that feel to you? Do you have to gear yourself up when you're doing those kind of performances, or do you stride onto stage with a spring in your step? You're happy to just be there?
I think you just have to gear yourself up. I think I'd say a lot of performing artists, I think, I mean, I can't really speak for everyone, have a lot of anxiety, social anxiety and whatnot, and the reason why, what's the main drive they're doing it, is because they need to.
It's a real drive.
Yeah,
it's a real need.
Yes, I need to do this.
That's interesting. That's a nice word to need. That's quite,
I need to do
that's
this.
quite core.
Yeah. I need to perform. I need to express myself. I need to have my voice heard. I need to get this point of view, this message, whether it's through a poem or a song or music or a piece of theatre or a film or whatnot. I need to get this message out. And me being on stage, me saying that it's much more. How can I say this? The message and the impacts that I want to make on the audience is much more important and outweighs my own insecurities and fears. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I get what you just said. Yeah. I was just thinking it through. So, right. So even though there's I'm not sure about this, I'm nervous, my palms are sweating, but it's like, what I'm going to do is more important than... That's an interesting kind of... that's an interesting way of overcoming. Yeah. I think most of us just stick with the nervous bit and just walk away. We're just like, but we haven't got that drive. We haven't got that need.
Yeah.
to elucidate those feelings, to have something to say? Do you have to have personally something to say, or does it matter whether it's your own thoughts that something to say, or you're saying, you know, the thoughts of somebody else, like a well-known playwright or what have you?
I think you have to have a strong point of view, something that you need to say, and that has to align with whatever performance you're giving, whether it's your own that you've created or somebody else's work, for you to actually have that drive to overcome those fears, because there's a real purpose behind it. And then you feel like there's a strong need, and you know that, okay, I need to say this right now at this time to the specific audience because they need to hear this, because I want to see that change within them. And that is more important.
So it's not just you declaiming, but there's also a bounce back from the audience, and there needs to be that two-way process.
Yeah.
The something to say thing, I've spoken to musicians for this podcast who've said it's taken them many years to get to the point where they had something to say. You know, they've been a musician for a long time, gigging musician, they've made their money from it, etc. And then they get to a point where, like, oh, now I found my voice. And you've heard, I mean, I've read this in a couple of interviews with like famous people too. Do you think the I found my voice with something to say is something that changes as you go through life?
Yeah.
Like, have you got a different thing to say now than you did have like a few years ago?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's just how you grow in different stages. Say, for instance, if somebody has had, I don't know, a lot of, say, for instance, a drama, like a high stakes drama, there's going to be a lot of traumas. You know, every piece of theatre, most songs or most music, or any, you know, I don't know how to say specifically the words, but somebody has gone through something, and they need to say it and need to express it. That's where it comes from, I think.
So you can turn it to whatever message there is. You can bring a bit of yourself to each message that you're trying to get across.
Yeah, and as you grow with age and different stages of life, you're going to have a different message. But it just grows, and then, I don't know, when you're 90 years old or something, you're going to have a lot to say.
Oh, yeah.
And if somebody at that age wants to create something monumental, like, this is my voice of what I have to say about life at 90 years old, they're going to have something passionate to say, and they're going to feel like they need to say this to the younger generation, so they don't go and experience the negative things that they've experienced in life, blah blah. It's, sharing the wisdom.
Did you, when you were a kid, did you want to perform when you were a kid? Like, I'm just trying to think about the whole idea of performance and wanting to have an audience. Is it a natural wellspring that has always been there, or is it something that came at a certain point and you were like, oh, this fits, I can do this? Because I suppose it's different for everyone.
I've always been in some sort of performance, whether it's either physical, where I don't have to speak, I don't know, but later on in life, finding, whether it's through just performing arts, you have something to say, you can use those words. So this is my avenue, you know. So it wasn't a thing as, I want to be on stage, I want to be on this, blah, blah, because I want to be famous. No.
Right.
This is what I need to do. This is how I can get whatever I need to say across to people. Yeah. If that answers your question.
Yeah. I'm just thinking also, once you've said it, let's say, you've been in a performing arts situation, you've given a performance, you've come off stage, does that then satiate that need until the next time? That, you know, that thing about the need to perform, the feeling you've got something to give, it must still be there, that motor must still be running. Otherwise you do it once and you go, I've done it, right, I'll move on to the next thing now, I'm going to do something else now. It's always there, that need.
Yeah, I think it depends. because how life takes you. Some if you've gone through hardships or whatnot, and you've either healed, and you've gone to therapy, and you've understood your life experience, blah blah, and that thing no longer is, you know, there. Maybe that need to say what you need to say with that from your experience kind of dwindles a little bit, maybe, until you find something else, or maybe you find a different way of telling it, or yeah, I think it's always there. I think it's always there. Some at some points it's fiery hot, and some points it's just like
the embers.
Yes, the embers, waiting for something to, for a reason, waiting for a reason to shine bright, I think. But I think it's always there. But if you're at the stage of when it's just embers, I think that's when an artist is very. It's like when they say somebody's a blocked artist.
A what?
A blocked artist.
What's that?
A blocked creative.
Oh, blocked. I beg
Yeah.
your pardon. Yeah.
Like the idea of being at the embers.
Yeah.
If somebody's blocked, that means they're struggling.
They're
in
waiting
some
for
way.
the oxygen to come in.
Yeah, they're waiting for the oxygen to come in, and they're a bit like frustrated in that point there because they don't know how to get. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to get what they want out there, or they've had so many different life experiences that's kind of suppressed them and weakened them. So they don't even have the energy or the mental capacity to actually do it. And but it's always there. It's always there.
I was speaking to a guy who was writing a play, and I happened to start chatting to him at the point that he had writer's block. And he was like, I've started writing this play that's very personal. I've got a real feeling I want to get this play out. It says a message that it's important to me. But I've just come up against a block. And it's quite an existential block. And he was like, I hope I get through it. But he didn't know the way through. And it was the first time it had happened to him. And he was like, oh. So he was walking around, he was taking a day to himself, and he was just walking around, and which is why we started chatting. And he was like, I'm just going to try and walk away from it, if I can. Come back to it fresh again. In your life, have you had blocks like that where you've had to power through a point which doesn't make sense?
Definitely. I think definitely. Like what you were saying about the guy who was writing a story or whatnot, and what popped into my mind was like, oh, it was having an existential
the
block. Or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Maybe he just needed to experience it for himself in life, and maybe he hadn't figured it out in life to actually say it. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting point. Yeah.
Because somebody, say for instance, somebody wants to write a play about domestic violence or something.
Yeah.
You know, hard topic to talk about.
Yeah. Going in deep.
Going in deep. And they're at a place where everything's very, very raw. And it's like everything's flowing, and it's just
Yeah.
But they themselves, in that specific life, in that point in their life, they haven't gone through the stages where they are completely healed, so they don't know the ending.
Yeah.
Because they haven't experienced it themselves.
Yeah.
So maybe the block is because they don't know the ending of that story because they haven't experienced it.
I mean, it's interesting, that thing about personal experience. In the world that you're in the creative performing world, you're kind of inhabiting other people's lives. You don't have to have lived their lives to play them.
No.
You have a professional capacity to dig into somebody's being and represent as much as you can.
As much as you can, yes. But there are some certain things that you have to have experienced or have, like, there's some things you cannot understand to the 100% detail and actually be able to portray it authentically and truthfully and have that impact and have that message resonate in your audience. If you yourself haven't got a serious high understanding of it. Being a performance artist.
Yeah.
If you're a writer, you can read a whole ton of books.
Mm-hmm.
Go and read a whole bunch of psychology books
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and piece things together
Mm-hmm.
by just, like a formula kind of thing,
In a way that makes sense.
in a way that makes sense.
Mm. But you're talking about it's harder to do the performing arts. You can't do it by numbers. You can't just like do the ABC and it works. There's something else. There's a bit of magic. There's a bit of extra.
Yeah.
So do you do when you do your kind of performing? Do you do like research?
Oh, you have to.
You think you read around it, or you watch films around it or something, or you do something that helps you inhabit it.
Yeah, definitely. You can't just read something or pick up a song or pick up a piece of poetry and be like, oh yeah.
I got it. That's me. I
No.
could have written it myself.
No. No, because everyone's life is very, very different from yours. You're never going to find a piece of literature that is exactly your life experience. Never, ever. So you have to do the research to try and understand somebody else's point of view. And then from understanding them, you can piece, okay, I understand it because it relates to this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And then you do more research and understand it. Then you have obviously the empathy and doing some more research, blah, 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 to kind of understand. But you have to do the research, of course.
I mean, something as simple as you reading this book on a day that you've given to yourself or an afternoon you've given to yourself, you're open to, how to win friends and influence, but you're open to somebody else's research and viewpoint about life, how to treat people. Would you say you're always quite open in terms of other people's viewpoints, or there's certain standpoints where you're like, I stand on this, and this I won't change my opinion about this particular kind of approach to life and way of being with other people?
What you just said. What you just said is a mixture. Open, and then some things are like, okay, no, I cannot even tolerate that because it's just against my nature. And other people will be able to tolerate it, and that's their own, temperament, whatever. But yeah. But then again, it all comes with your life experience, and of course temperament. But yeah, there's some things obviously in life that you're like, no, because if I tolerate that, that could be triggering.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even going to go there. Or
So you've already learnt your safety gates.
yes, and some people may not, and somebody else has obviously never experienced your life, doesn't know you, blah blah. They may be like, oh, well, I can deal with that.
Mm-hmm. What's
That's not a
the
big deal.
what's the big deal?
Yeah, what's the big deal? It's not even that blah blah blah. But actually, you know your boundaries, you know your limits. You just say, no, I can't do that because that's gonna either affect me emotionally or affect me whatever.
And yet we can't be 100% really empathetic and really tuned into people all the time. We will make mistakes sometimes, and we will say things a bit without thinking and going, well, that's not a big deal, or I don't know, what are you getting so upset about?
Yes.
Because we don't understand it, and we haven't even given it a bit of thought. It's like, it's fine by me.
Mm-hmm.
What's the big deal?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're all guilty. We're all guilty of doing that sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why you shouldn't judge people. You can't really judge someone and go, oh, this person's, or say somebody is wrong, or say what you said is that, because you don't know them.
But you've got to have your opinions.
Yeah.
You've got to have your own judgment on stuff.
Yeah. You're going to have your opinions and whatnot, but you can't be too quick to shut somebody else down.
Yeah.
Because they have come to that conclusion for a reason, You've got to be sensitive to other people's experiences and life and their point of view and their way of living or their worldview,
But in the performing arts, you also want to challenge people, and you also
Yes.
want to shake them up a bit.
Yes.
And you also want to go, I'm going to give this to you in multicolour. I'm going to really put you in this situation and make you feel this situation. So you're kind of in the professional business of
Challenging people. Making people think.
Yeah.
And that's great. Because you can say what you want to say. That's how you say it. And that's the people come, you go and see, listen to a piece of poetry, you go and listen to a piece of music because it challenges you. Makes you think, makes you go, oh, actually, maybe how I was seeing things was wrong. Or they go there to be seen. I went through something, or this other person's going through something, and actually that person's performs a story, or that song, or that poem, or something, or whatever, is explaining my experience. Now I am understood. I feel seen. I feel understood. And that's taken some weight off of me because I feel less alone. And it's healing. Yeah.
It's quite a responsibility for you as the person who's putting that message across.
Yeah. And that's why the whole need thing, I need to say this because of the audience, because of the impact I want to make, because I want that message to come across. So there's going to be some change in the audience. And that is bigger than my fear of being judged or criticized, because that's the bigger reason. And I think that maybe is the reason why the effort, so much work is being put into it, because being a performing artist is not easy. Whether it's you're an actor or you're a singer or you're a musician, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, a lot of understanding, a lot of this to truthfully, represent that person that you want, that is going to come to the audience, who's gone through that experience, to help them. It takes a lot of work. Why would somebody go through that? Why would somebody, I don't know, repeatedly make themselves cry? Consistently. It's painful. It's not, people think, it's not easy. Why would you want, any random person, why would you want to emotionally be in a low state every single night?
And to make yourself vulnerable.
Every single night.
And to be truly vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's not just an act.
Yeah. It's not just an act. Why would you go through all of that consistently if it wasn't for a bigger reason other than yourself? Because if it's just for yourself, you're going to get tired. You'll just give up. Because I'm tired about this. I don't like how it feels. I'm going to do something else. But actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go through, do whatever I need to do to get myself into that mental state. Because this is going to have an impact. Because this is going to allow somebody else to be free from whatever is bothering them in their minds.
That's a great driving force. You're very lucky to have that need, to have that feeling driving you forwards when you do these things. It just sounds like an entirely positive energy in life.
Yeah.
Does that feel it to you? Or, do you generally feel that it is a force for good and will always be a force for good within you, this performing drive, this need?
Yeah. It's sense of purpose. If you're doing something and you're using all of yourself to help somebody else and other people, and then once you see that impact, you go, oh, actually, you hear them say, actually, you know what, that made me feel this, and that made me think about this, and now I feel better. That's the success. That's the success. Because you've done your job. But I think that comes from the drive, for me, comes from my own experience of when I needed it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It was there.
Right.
And that want of, actually, you know what? I want to be able to do that for somebody else. Now that I know and recognise I have the ability to do so. Yeah.